Hold it, fellas. That don't move me. Let's get real going for a change.
It's time to get real gone on the Rockabilly and Blues Radio Hour. Here's your host, James Riley.
This is Jam and James Riley on your favorite hour for great music and interviews. It's the Rockabilly and Blues Radio Hour. Now, coming up on the show today, Jim Heath, a.k.a. Reverend Horton Heat.
Where the stage union is really intense. It was like I was going to go over and pack up my cord, and all of a sudden they go, that's it, step away from your instruments.
So much more from him starting right after this. From their debut 1990 album, Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em, Reverend Horton Heat and Psychobilly Freakout.
Howdy, cats and kittens. This is Jim Heath, a.k.a. the Reverend Horton Heat, and you're rocking and rolling with Jim and James Riley.
It's a Psychobilly Freakout. It's a Psychobilly Freakout.
Well, hey, it's Jam and James Riley on the Rockabilly and Blues Radio Hour, and on the phone, Jim Heath, a.k.a. Reverend Horton Heat. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great.
Man, it's awesome to have you on the show here.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I love Rockabilly, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Man, this is cool. We've got plenty of questions. We have some questions from listeners as well, so this will be fun. Let's start with the obvious one, the stage name. I know you have a great story about how that was basically just given to you.
Yep, it was. I worked at a club where the guy had nicknames for people. And my nickname ended up being Horton. And I'm not exactly sure why. I don't think he was thinking of Johnny Horton, which is what I thought of when I first heard it.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I was working there, and I was setting up the PA and all that, blah, blah, blah. And he heard me playing and singing. He said, "Hey, I'll give you a gig. Be here 2 weeks from Thursday." I show up to play the gig. I get there. I'm setting up my stuff. And nobody's there. You know, it's in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And he kept walking up on stage, and he walks up to me, and he says, "Your stage name is going to be Reverend Horton Heat, okay?" And I said, "No." Whoa. I said, look, you call me Horton. Now you're taking my nickname and making it as my state. You're giving me a stage name. Not every day somebody gives you a stage name.
Sure.
But I was desperate for a gig. It was just me by myself and my song. I did some cover songs too, but a lot of original stuff, a lot of my own songs, just me up there playing. And I told him no. I said, look, I don't want it to be like me being like Johnny Horton. I mean, Johnny Horton is a mammoth guy. I can't be that, And then the Reverend is like, for me at least, in my mind, Reverend Gary Davis is one of the greatest blues guitar players ever.
Sure.
And there's no way that there'll ever be another Reverend Gary Davis. So for me, it's like, you're going to make a Reverend. But anyway, he had made flyers, and he had posted it in the paper. I didn't notice the flyers. It didn't say Jim Heath. It said Reverend Horton Heat. So anyway, I started playing the gig, and guess what? People showed up.
Yeah.
30 or 40 people, and calling me and sitting and listening to my songs and coming up and calling me Reverend. Why are they calling me Reverend? I mean, like, did he go around and tell everybody that I have a new stage name? I was like, what? It's going on here. But, man, I was so poor and desperate. I ran with it. I had to. I was like basically living at one of his clubs in the hot heat-seeking missile, they called it. I think that's where the heat came from.
Yeah.
I lived in the heat-seeking missile, which was this room in this unair-conditioned warehouse that didn't have any windows or ventilation or air conditioning. I don't know how I lived in that place. But like I said, and listen, a lot of what I do is based on fear.
Yeah. Desperation
and fear. A, I'm desperate because B, I'm so fearful that this could all go away.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Oh, man.
Fear is a fabulous motivator.
Absolutely.
Probably one of the best. When you're 23 years old and you have a little baby to take care of, and hell yeah, the child support payments, I got to go. And what? Oh, okay, I'm Reverend Horton Heat.
There you go.
Okay, well, whatever. Tell me where my next gig is, and I'll be there.
Exactly. You formed, this was a little over 30 years ago. Let's go back before that. We got a message from Jen. She wanted to know some of your musical influences and how those helped define your sound.
My cousins were playing Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins and Elvis and Creedence Clearwater Revival, that type of stuff for me when I was a kid. And so the first song I ever tried to learn how to play on guitar was Folsom Prison Blues. And my cousin remembers me bugging the hell out of him, like, okay, stop. What did you do there?
Yeah.
To learn that song. But, later, there was so much evolution. It's hard to pinpoint. But I discovered blues at the local record store, Chess Records. And so, I think my guitar playing kind of melded out of the fact that I was trying to learn how to play like Freddie King and B.B. King and, Guitar Slim and Albert King and Albert Collins.
Sure.
So that kind of grew. And so the next thing you know, I was like, these kids said, hey, you could play blues. Why don't you be in this 50s band with us? You could play. It's the same thing. It's just the blues a little faster. It's easy. Of course it wasn't. It was quite a good little learning experience because we did all so many types of songs, hits, and there was a 50s kind of tribute band. And so they did, and it was these three kids that they could sing harmonies like the Platters.
Yeah. One
brother could play boogie woogie piano like Jerry Lee Lewis. Another brother could sing all the harmonies and play bass and guitar too. They did Rock Around the Clock, and on Rock Around the Clock, he said, okay, here's the deal now. On that solo, you have to give me your guitar. I play guitar on that one. And I could play that solo. So I said, okay, whatever, And so I'd give him the guitar, and I'd go sit down on the side, and he'd play that solo and Rock Around the Clock. I mean, just 16-year-old kid, going, but a little, doing the whole thing note for note.
Wow.
And it just looked like it would bring down the house. It made me sit there thinking, I'm going to learn that solo if it kills me.
Yeah.
If it's the last thing I do, but unfortunately I should have been thinking about that other stuff too, because eventually they kicked me out of that band. I wasn't good enough. That was my first band. You know, these took place as well, and I still keep in touch with one of the brothers.
Yeah.
But I mean, the songs like Soldier Boy, you know, the girl would come out in a petticoat, kind of, well, it was more than a petticoat. It was one of those dresses that you have to have the petticoat and all that, like this prom dress. But and they had a spotlight for her, and she would sing Soldier Boy, oh my little, you know, that whole deal. And like,
sure.
Oh man.
Hey, get rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm. When you get the blues, get a rock and roll feeling in your bones. Put taps on your toes and get gone, get rhythm. When you get the blues. I met a shoeshine boy, never did slow down, but he's got the dirtiest job in town. Bending low at the people's feet on a windy corner of a dirty street. When I asked him while he shined my shoes, how'd he keep from getting the blues? He grinned as he raised his little head, popped his shoeshine rag in, and he said, get rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm. When you get the blues, a jump the rhythm makes you feel so fine. It'll shake all your troubles from your worrying mind. Get rhythm. When you get the blues. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm. When you get the blues, get a rock and roll feeling in your bones. Put taps on your toes and get gone, get rhythm. When you get the blues. Well, I sat down and listened to the shoeshine boy, and I thought I was gonna jump for joy. Slapped on my shoe polish, left and right. He took a shoeshine rag and he held it tight. He stopped once to wipe his sweat away. I said, you're my little boy to be working that way. He said, I like it with a big wide grin. He kept on it popping and he'd say it again. Get rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, get rhythm. When you get the blues, it only costs a dime, just a nickel a shoe, but does $1 million worth of good for you. Get rhythm. When you get the blues.
Viva Las Vegas 19 is April 14th through the 17th at the Orleans Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, featuring guitar legend Dick Dale. Brian Setzer's Rockabilly Riot.
There's a robin in Brighton tonight. Robin in Brighton tonight.
The Polecats.
Make a second with me.
The Stars of Rockabilly Show with Sleepy LaBeef. The Doo-Wop All-Star Show with Bobby Hendricks, Jack Scott, Rocky Burnett, and Daryl Hyam. Big Sandy and his Fly Ride Boys. Dave Phillips and the Hot Rod Gang. Jay Milano, Restless, and over 50 more artists. But that's not all. Burlesque Show, Deke's Guitar Geek Show, Car Show, Burlesque Bingo, Pool Parties, and so much more. It's Viva Las Vegas 19. For tickets and information, go to vivalasvegas.net, and we'll see you there.
There's a robin in Brighton tonight.
Hey, we're back on the Rockabilly and Blues Radio Hour, and from the Johnny Cash tribute album, Dressed in Black, it's Get Rhythm from our guest, Reverend Horton Heat, and we're talking with Jim Heath, who goes in a little bit more detail about how his sound developed. Here's Jim.
And, you know, then I was just a rock and roll guy. You know, I had this thing for the blues. And then I grew up with Elvis and Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins were the young ones. And so then eventually with the blues thing and that 50s band, it was like, oh, there's this whole other world of the, you know, the Dwayne Eddies and the, as far as guitar players.
Yeah.
And so I started hanging around a lot of record collectors. But I've been in a bunch of different bands. I could play pretty well when I was a kid. I just had a rock band. After the 50s band, I just had a rock band.
Yeah.
We made great money playing clubs. We played all the high school dances in the South Texas region. We were 16 and we were kicking ass.
That's great.
You know, but make a little money. That was basically my high school job, and then I always knew I could make a living playing music. I can basically kind of get my way around just about any style of music if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But, focusing, this guy that named me Reverend Horton Heat, he had this art gallery nightclub I worked at, and hanging around that area, the Deep Ellum area when it was